Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking, all right? So shout out to everybody who's in the room early. It's good to see each and every one of you. I hope everybody is starting their day out okay. If you guys can hear me, please give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, please give me a thumbs down or an angry face. I'm going to shout out everybody who's in the building early. We got Brooklyn Queen 125 in the building. Shout out to you. We got Vovo 2 Love in the house. Good to see you. We got Katsy in the building. What's going on with it, Katsy? We got Denise, Miss Nisi Scales in the building. And we got my man Black Free Thinker in the house. Shout out to all of you all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this situation that went down with these Kansas City Chiefs fans. All right. Shout out to Lloyd Sky 9. What's good with it, bro? My question for you guys is how many people heard about this? If you guys heard about this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not hear about this, give me a thumbs down. And we are going to get into it. Shout out to Tedra Mitchell. What's going on with it? All right. So we got an article here from the Independent. All right. And shout out to Roots Trackers. What's good with it? And what it says is 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans found frozen to death in friend's backyard 2 days after their last sighting. Now, this has been going kind of wild. A lot of people are talking about this. All right. So we're going to talk about it. The remains of 3 Missouri men were found in a backyard after they reportedly froze to death following a visit to their friend's home to celebrate a Kansas City Chiefs victory. That off the rip sounds extremely strange. Shout out to DSA. What's good with it, bro? That off the rip sounds extremely strange. How many of you all have ever, clearly you didn't freeze to death, but how many of you all have ever frozen going to a friend's house? If anything like this has ever happened to you, give me a thumbs up. If it hasn't, then give me a thumbs down. It's really weird stuff. Law enforcement in Kansas City is investigating the deaths of Clayton McGreeny, David Harrington, and Ricky Johnson after they were found outside of a home on Northwest 83rd Terrace. 2 of the bodies were discovered in the backyard. 1 was found on the back porch of the residence 2 days after they were last seen. All right. So does that sound like bodies were moved? Off the rip is already sounding extremely shady. You know what I'm saying? Police said foul play is not suspected and the deaths are not being investigated as homicide, but the circumstances surrounding the fatalities remain unclear. So if the circumstances surrounding the fatalities remain unclear, the question that you got to ask is, why are the deaths not being investigated as homicides? And that doesn't sound like something that's not a homicide. Shout out to Katsy. Katsy says, sounds like they passed out, drinking too much, drugged. I don't know. All 3 of them, though? You know what I'm saying? Just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? All 3 of them? They all drank the same amount. All of them passed out all at the same time. Like they just stopped in their tracks. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The 3 men arrived at the home of their friend, Jordan Willis, shortly after 9 p.m. on January 7th to celebrate a game that saw the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Las Vegas Raiders. Mr. Willis reportedly went to bed and had no knowledge that his friends had died until police showed up at his door on January 9th and eventually found the remains. So now my question then here is, who called the police? Who called the police? How did the police know to come there? Why did they just show up? Although a cause and manner of death have not been confirmed pending an autopsy, John Picerno, an attorney for Mr. Wills, said the men seemingly died by hypothermia. That weekend, Kansas City saw below freezing temperatures that reached the teens. Mr. Picerno said it was a mystery how the 3 bodies went undiscovered for 2 days. Yeah, that's definitely a mystery. That's definitely a mystery. Jordan had absolutely nothing to do with their deaths, Mr. Picerno said in a statement to the Independent. He does not know how the timing or manner of their deaths nor does he know how or when they exited his house. He had no knowledge that they remained in his backyard or that they needed medical attention. According to Mr. Paserno, Mr. Willis was unaware that loved ones had been trying to locate his 3 missing friends. Although 2 cars that belonged to his friends were parked in his street, Mr. Willis didn't notice the cars because they were not parked in his driveway. 2 people came to his house, however. He did not hear them as he sleeps with earbuds and a loud fan, Mr. Paserno added. One of those people, the wife of one of the deceased, tried to reach him via Facebook Messenger. Unfortunately, he did not see the message until after the police contacted him. Kansas City Police Department is investigating whether alcohol or drugs were involved in the incident. KCPD Captain Jake Bacina told Fox News Digital that Mr. Willis had been cooperative with the investigation and he was not considered. First and foremost, this case is 100% not being investigated as a homicide. Again, my question is why? How do you just go into an investigation and just off the rip say, we're not going to investigate this as a homicide? Like, does that make any sense? If that makes sense to you guys, give me a thumbs up. If that doesn't make any sense to you guys, give me a thumbs down. I've never really, you know what I'm saying? I've never really heard anything like that before. You know what I mean? And I got to agree. If you guys agree with Katsy, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Katsy said cooperation doesn't mean he isn't guilty. Yeah, that's facts. That's big facts. There have not been any arrests or charges, and no one is in custody. There are no specific threats or concerns for the surrounding community at this time. All right. So they actually have some more articles down here. We can take a listen to this real quick. Let's see something here. This will probably go into this will probably turn into an ad in a minute. Oh, quick. Let's see what they got over here. Let's see.
Deeper right now,
Let's see. Hold on. All right, let's go. Hold on.
A bit deeper right now, McCurry Myers, former Kansas Bureau of Investigation Special Agent. Sir, good morning to you. A couple of things here. The families are talking and they want answers. Here's the father to Fox Digital. I believe he drugged them, dragged them outside, waited 2 days to call police. He may have done some drugs and stuff in the past, but I do not believe all 3 of them did drugs and fell over dead in the backyard.
Now, do you guys agree with that assessment? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't agree, give me a thumbs down. I don't know. This whole thing is weird.
Now, the attorney for Willis, the man who owns the home, said this. The number one thing that people need to remember from our point of view is that these were 3 buddies. These were his 3 buddies, sorry. If they were in danger, he would have helped them. If he knew they were out there, he would have called the police himself. And
how do we know that, though? Like, how can we just make that assumption? I don't think that I don't think that we can just give that kind of leniency. I don't know why anybody would just make that assumption. Is that wise to just make that kind of assumption? I don't think that we should be just jumping out the window making that assumption. You know what I'm saying?
Anything beyond that is pure speculation. What's your theory?
Well, certainly these folks have been friends for quite a number of years, it's my understanding. But I think there's 4 key areas here that need to be looked at. The first is the autopsy. You know, I've done quite a few autopsies with forensic pathologists, and so much information can be gathered during that autopsy to not only know the time and date of when the death occurred, but what was in the content of the stomach. So you're going to know what they ate, drank. You're going to know whether or not there was any damage to the body, whether or not there was any blunt trauma. So getting that autopsy report back is going to be extremely important. The second one, and a real key to this case, is toxicology. What is the any kind of alcohol limits? What are the drug limits going to be? Hypothermia sets in rapidly if somebody's under the influence of drugs or alcohol. and the weather at that time was considerably colder. We've been in a significant cold spell through the month of January.
How do you just not notice, you know, all of the stuff that this guy just didn't notice, though? You know what I mean? Like, how do you just not notice any of that stuff? Like, he didn't notice a bunch of stuff. How do you just not notice that stuff? Yeah, I gotta agree, Catsy. Catsy says the actual cause of death is important. Did they die from hypothermia or did they die before? Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question.
It happened at night. They went outside for some reason sometime after midnight, because that's when the last witness saw them alive. And so they went outside, but there was coats found inside.
Shout out to Black Women Stand Up. What's good with it?
And they weren't, and at least one of them wasn't wearing a coat. The third is going to be some unanswered questions about the holes in this case, of whether or not, why did the guy sleep for nearly 50 hours in and out? The cars of the victims were still outside in the driveway. One would wonder why someone wouldn't say, what's going on? Where are my friends at?
I said the same thing. I mean, to me, like, that would just be kind of a obvious question to ask, or just an obvious suspicion to have. It's like, yo, this is kind of weird. Why are their cars still here? Where is everybody? What's going on? Like, if this was me, or I don't know, I want to just go out on a limb and say a normal person or any other person, I would assume that people would start asking these questions. Yeah, that's another great question. Tedra asked the question, why would the friend go to bed and just leave them in his house? Right? Like, was he drunk or on drugs? You know what I'm saying? Like, because me personally, I don't like going to sleep with people in my house. Everybody got to go. Remember when Martin, he used to be like, y'all ain't got to go home, but you got to get the H out of here. That's how I would be. You got to go. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you up in the house and I'm sitting here. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. I don't want you rambling around. You don't know what's going on. You probably, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you all in my bathroom like that. You got to go. You know what I mean? Make it make sense. And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys watching. If you all haven't smashed the like button, if you haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, make sure you guys take a moment, hit that bell, and share the stream to your social media. All right. If you are not subscribed, make sure that y'all do that. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my other social media, take a minute and do that as well.
And do a search for them. And then, last but not least, you have to understand the use of technology and find out when their cell phones were pinging, when they were last used. Yeah. Any information on social media is going to be key to gather information in this case.
Okay, so you answered a lot. Just give me one more answer on this. When do we get the results of toxicology? When do we get the autopsy?
Autopsy results usually come out sooner because the forensic pathologist is actually
this week
seeing it in real time and using their notes. Toxicology could take a month. And Kansas City, Missouri is high crime. They have a lot of death investigations and the lab is overworked. So it could be even longer than a month. Okay. Hopefully we can get it pretty soon.
Will the autopsy be out this week, sir? Just a quick answer on that.
I don't know.
Okay. Curry Myers, thank you so much. It's a big mystery and everybody's got a theory. So,
all right. So there's that. So I think there's another video. If we go down further, let me see. Yeah, they got this video right here. Let me see. Parents of Kansas City Chiefs fan found dead think that the victim saw something that they shouldn't have seen. What do you guys think that it is that they might have seen that they shouldn't have seen? What kind of stuff would you what kind of stuff would they shouldn't have seen watching a football game or going to like an after party or something like that? Yeah, exactly. And sleeping with the earbud. How many people sleep with earbuds in their ear? Is there anybody in here that sleeps with earbuds in their ear? If you sleep with earbuds in your ear, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. Now, if the earbuds make you deaf, how do you wake up to an alarm? How do you wake up to an alarm if the earbuds make you deaf?
After those 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans were found dead in the frozen backyard of their friend Jordan Willis more than 2 weeks ago. Willis's attorney admitting a 5th person was also in the house when Willis went to bed on the couch where he slept for 2 days.
So there was a 5th person on the couch. Okay.
To bed on the couch where he slept for 2 days, he says, until his friends' bodies were found.
Before he fell asleep, they were going to leave. He actually escorted them to the door, said their goodbyes, opened the door. He went back on the couch and he crashed.
But that 5th person reportedly denying all of that. He claims that he left the house while the 3 friends and Willis were still awake watching Jeopardy and insisting that he was not the last one to see them alive. Grieving family members, including our next guest, demanding answers. Jonathan Price. His brother was one of the men found in the backyard. His name was Ricky Johnson. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for joining us. I know your family is just devastated. Everyone on this couch has a brother. You say things are not adding up. What do you mean?
Well, for one, like you guys just showed, does he know when they left or does he not? Does he know if his dogs were there? Does he not? There's way too many questions still needing to be answered, and nobody can answer those questions in honesty except for Jordan.
Yeah.
The 5th person, he was there, but he wasn't there after a certain time frame.
Well, and didn't Jordan's attorney say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he saw his 4 friends out at the end of the night?
Yes, that's what he originally said. And then he kind of backtracked on it after the 5th person came out. And that's just the stuff that's not adding up.
Yeah.
If you have to change your story, then how do we know at any time were you telling the truth? It doesn't make any sense.
Jonathan.
So again, this is very interesting, right? And they're bringing up these inconsistencies, and we're going to go on these inconsistencies later. But my question for you guys is, what is it that you guys think that he didn't want them to see? Because they're speculating that the guys who are now deceased saw something that he didn't want them to see. What do y'all think that it could have possibly been? Let me know. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't smashed the like button, please smash the like button wherever you're watching from. If you haven't shared, please share the stream. And if you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe.
Jonathan, so many people, when we read this story for the first time, we thought, who sleeps on a couch for 2 days? How did that happen? What do you think happened?
I mean, that part makes no sense to me, especially when it seems like you're a responsible individual, a responsible enough individual to gain a PhD in what seems like a very complicated science. If you're one of those type of people, in order to sleep all day on a Monday, which I assume was a work day, if you're working from home, I mean, I don't know how that is possible.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't be able to do that.
It's being reported.
And my job's not nearly as complicated.
Yeah, it's being reported that Jordan Willis, the guy who owns the house, who was allegedly asleep on the couch for 2 days, is an accomplished scientist. What are police telling you?
So so this guy here is an accomplished scientist, allegedly. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? If he's an accomplished scientist, there's a couple things that he's not really explaining. If he's a scientist, he has advanced knowledge of how temperatures affect things, right? So he should have advised his friends about the temperature while they were taking in chemicals that could have caused them to have impaired judgment, right? He would understand these things. So he would have a higher aptitude to be able to advise his friends to err along the line of safety. Why is he sleeping on the couch for 2 days? How did he not observe anything in his environment? Shout out to Crew Reality. What's good with it, bro? Make it make sense.
Police have not told us a single thing. Not my mother. The last my mother heard was that they were still trying to get through the phones, and that was well over a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. And Clayton's fiance, Clayton is one of your brother's best friends. All three of them, I understand, were inseparable. Clayton's fiance had to break into the house 2 days later because she wasn't hearing from her fiance, right?
Correct.
And then what did she find when she went into the house?
Well, she announced her presence. She made that very clear. And there was no answer from anybody. So she assumed that nobody was home. So she continued her search to where she, the official statement wasn't actually released. So I don't know who she found on the back porch. But as soon as she found someone on the back porch, she immediately called the police. And when the police showed up,
now, how did the woman get there, right? This woman that got there, whoever's wife this was or whoever's fiance this was, how did she get there and immediately find somebody? But the person whose home it was failed to notice that anybody was there. How? She went there and immediately found where somebody was at. But the guy that lives there just didn't notice anything. He didn't notice anything. And not to mention, he was asleep on the couch for 3 days. Right. That's a great question. Shout out to DSA. Make sure you guys throw some flames and some radiation emoji in the chat for DSA. DSA said, where were their phones? If their family and friends were trying to reach them and no one heard them going off. Now, you guys know the batteries do seem to die a lot quicker when it's cold, but until the batteries died, I mean, somebody should have heard the phones or something. Somebody make this stuff make sense.
That's when Jordan answered the door as if he had no idea anything was going on. And, from there on, it was, we haven't really gotten something we can call the truth from him anyway.
And then the three men were found in the backyard. Were they frozen to death?
Well, the official cause of death is not stated, but they do say at the very beginning that they did freeze to death. Yes.
Yeah. Were there any drugs involved? Have you gotten toxicology reports back?
Toxicology is still waiting for a couple weeks, they said. That's the last we heard from Jordan's lawyer, because apparently they are anxiously waiting for that as well. I'm sure they would be, especially if he does know what's going on.
Jonathan, I know that the police are conducting this investigation, but what's your family going through, especially not having any answers?
That's the biggest thing is, I can't speak on all of my family, but for myself, it's been very difficult. And I don't think that I can ever fully heal until I find out what happened. And I'll never be fully healed. I admired my brother so much.
What was he like?
I looked up to him. Huge sports fan, everything sports, no matter what it was. His 3 beautiful daughters.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Shout out to Katsy. Katsy said, well, the police don't seem to be investigating since they ruled in an accident. Now, here goes my question. Do you guys think that the police tend to prematurely rule things in accidents so that they don't have to do as extensive of an investigation on certain situations? If you guys think that that's the case, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down.
He loves them to death. You can see him when you look at them so much. They look just like him, and it's very difficult.
How are they doing?
Well, not all of them understand. The older 2 definitely going through a very hard time.
Gosh.
I'm not sure if the youngest one fully understands right now, being 4. I'm not sure how much she's seeing online and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just very difficult to yeah.
Jonathan, this is a very important story. Everyone is concerned about this because we all watch football. We've been watching the Chiefs, and we can all relate to this story. We go to, tailgates. We go to people's houses to watch games, and we all bring a dip or chips or whatever. And this happened to your family, and it's just so bizarre. You're in our prayers. God bless you so much, Jonathan.
All right, so there's that. Let me see. I don't think that there's any more videos. All right, so we're gonna look at the next articles. All right, and the next article is from the New York Post. All right, the situation is just very weird. The police are treating it very weird. With all these weird circumstances, you'd think that the police would be investigating this to the, using whatever means that they could to a full capacity. Doesn't seem like they're doing that. Jordan Willis, dad of Kansas City Chiefs fan who hosted party where 3 pals froze to death, defends son as speculation mounts. So, of course, the father is going to defend the son. But here's the question, though. Is the son defensible? Is the son defensible? The Kansas City man who hosted an NFL watch party at his rental home before 3 of his friends were found frozen to death in his backyard, quote unquote, didn't do anything wrong, his family insisted to the Post on Thursday. He would never in a million years do anything, Jordan Willis's father said of his son, as some relatives of the 3 men have speculated wildly over how they ended up dead. I don't think that those are wild speculations. I think that those people are just trying to figure out exactly what happened because a lot of the story doesn't make sense. And usually when there's inconsistencies or when the story doesn't make sense, that's because either some details are not being provided or some details are being altered in order to steer people who are investigating or people who are speculating away from the truth. Okay. Willis's dad said his son is grieving just the same as his friends and family, some of whom have publicly pointed fingers at Willis and theorized that drugs may be to blame for the deaths of David Harrington, Ricky Johnson, and Clayton McGreeny. Police have said foul play is not suspected. Now, here's my question. And I want to ask this question of you guys, and I want to know what you guys think. What would make the police not suspect foul play? As soon as I heard this, as crazy and as shady as this story sounds, I immediately suspected that there was some type of foul play. Or it's just something's not right about this. You know what I mean? Something's not right about this. Let me ask you guys, how many of you all think that there's foul play involved? If you think that there's foul play involved, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that there's foul play involved, then give me a thumbs down. Harrington, Johnson, and McGreeny were at Will's home on January 7th to watch the Kansas City final regular season game. The trio was discovered dead in the party host yard 2 days later when McGreeny's fiance requested a welfare check. So they were in the yard the entire time. How did he not see them in his own yard? How did they even get into the yard? These were all good friends. These were all people he went to school with, and he took them to a football game the day before for the Chiefs, Willis' dad said Thursday outside his Kansas City home. Willis's attorney, John Pacerno, said Willis had been asleep on the couch next to a loud fan for 2 days. Now, this right here, okay. Now, here down here it says he was also wearing noise-canceling headphones when concerned family members came calling, the lawyer said. He allowed police to search his rental home, leading to the gruesome discovery, which Willis said was the first he learned of his friend's death. I don't buy that. Right, crazy crimes that get no headlines. Facts. Facts. Willis's dad's defense of his son comes just hours after Harrington's own father said he is not buying Willis's version of what happened. I don't think anybody other than the police is buying this version. And I don't even think that the police is buying this version. I just think that the police don't want to have to do their jobs. You know what I'm saying? Willis's dad's defense of his son comes just hours after Harrington's own father said he's not buying Willis's version of what happened. Harrington's mother and I are both convinced that Jordan Willis played a part in this somehow, John Harrington said on Thursday. There were 4 of you in the house, and now 3 of them are dead, and you're not. That doesn't add up, he added, theorizing that the men witnessed, quote unquote, something that they shouldn't have seen before they died. Now, again, I don't know what it is that they could have possibly witnessed, that they could have possibly seen, that they shouldn't have. But if you guys recall, if you remember, this dude was a scientist, so who knows what was going on? We don't know what was going on. It's just speculation, but I'm trying to figure out what it might have been that they might have seen that they weren't supposed to see. And my question is, this dude is a scientist. What is it that he did exactly to deter them? You know what I'm saying? This is very bizarre and very weird. Now, that's a good question, Katsy. I'm not exactly sure what type of scientist the guy is. When I do a follow-up on this, if I'm able to get that info, I'll definitely let y'all know. Regardless of what kind of scientist he is, temperature is a measure that's used in all science. And if the low temperatures caused hypothermia, and if they were using drugs or alcohol, you know what I'm saying, he knows better. Okay, so I got a feeling that this is probably a remix of the article that we just read, but we'll check it out and see. Kansas City Chiefs fan found frozen to death, saw something that they shouldn't have, parents claim. So yeah, I think that all they did was just put a different title on it. Have you guys ever noticed that? A lot of times, like the New York Post and Fox News, shout out to Alonda, by the way, they'll take articles that they've already they'll take articles that they already wrote and then put a completely different title on them. Have you guys ever noticed that they do that a lot? You know what I mean? The first paragraph will be different, and then when you read the next paragraphs, it's all the same. And it's like, man, I thought this was something different. I thought this was a new update. You know what I'm saying? And then it turns out that it's just a new title and a different first paragraph, which is ridiculous. Why are they doing that? You know what I'm saying? Lazy journalism. Facts. Big facts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for now, that's all I got. But make sure that you guys got your notifications turned on, because I will be streaming some stuff later on the day. Make sure you guys get a chance. If you guys get a chance, some of the replays, make sure that you guys are subscribed to my other channels, because they're not backup channels anymore, in case you haven't noticed. You know what I'm saying? Also subscribe to my social media, and make sure that you guys are part of the Discord so that you are getting the notifications. I appreciate each and every one of you all for being here. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,
walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour, got demons. Say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. I'm the realest from my city. That's on my knee, that's on Kiwi, that's on mamas. Niggas don't believe me, come and see me. I been dodging all that face. All these niggas working broke, but I been getting paid. All that know me from the street. Flexing for what feature, that's like every other week. Talk behind my back, I kick my feet up, have a seat. Cause at the end of the day, all these watching me as I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking about shit like, I'm really him on God. Walk up in this like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking about shit like, I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this like, hey, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey, I'm really him. Hold up.